And thus, our very first September comes to an end with kind of a very underrated episode, in my opinion. This is Old Money. First broadcast on March 28th, 1991, written by J. Kogen and Wolodarsky, and directed by David Silverman. In this episode, Grandpa falls in love with a woman named Beatrice Simmons, played by Audrey Meadows. On Bee's birthday, Grandpa tries to celebrate it, but he is dragged away by Homer. Bee dies that night, and Grandpa blames Homer for causing him to miss her last moments. After the funeral, Grandpa receives $106,000. Bee's ghost appears, and she tells him to forgive Homer and spend his money on a worthy cause. Some notable things about this particular episode is that Professor Frink makes his debut in the series in this particular show. And also, this is one of the few episodes where the credits actually show what voice actors do what voices for specific characters. And it was done specifically because the staff received questions about who played which characters in general from fans, and so they just decided, you know what, we'll put it in here. And this is actually one of my favorite episodes of the show. It's an unusual episode when you really think about it, because it's not really a funny episode, but it's still a really enjoyable episode, mostly because it's an episode that manages to not only make you laugh, but also make you feel for the character the story revolves around. It's kind of like a Lisa on Ice in a way. It's the first Grandpa-centered episode of the series, and it does a very good job of giving him a really good story to work with here. I mean, they actually do treat Grandpa like a real character in this, and not just a joke like some of the later episodes will do. Dan Castellaneta and Audrey Meadows have this great chemistry together, and you can really buy into Grandpa's relationship with Bee in this. And it is very strong for both of them, and it does work very well, considering that you have a top-tier talent in Audrey Meadows working with Dan Castellaneta. And like I said, the chemistry just works so well. When Grandpa's mad at Homer, he actually has a legitimate reason, because in the scene where Homer forces him out of the retirement home to go on the discount lion safari, Grandpa keeps telling him that it's his girlfriend's birthday, but Homer, not thinking that his dad is actually speaking the truth, just looks at the chair and assumes that Bee is imaginary. And yeah, it's one of the few times that I'm siding with Grandpa on this, because Homer was such a dick in this episode. But in the next part of it, you know, Homer does realize his mistake, and it's not until Bee tells him and goes for him to go forgive his son. You know, and yeah, the episode could have ended there, and that would have been a pretty decent episode overall. But then it does decide to go to another level, where Grandpa decides to go gamble the money away at a casino so that he can help people, to which that's what Bee asked him to do. And Homer successfully stops him from doing that at the last minute, and literally, Grandpa is about to bet all the money that he has, and Homer thankfully stops him from making a big mistake, because, you know, he's playing so well. And then that one time that he was almost going to do it, of course he loses, and he would have lost all that money. And he finally decides to use that money to fix up the retirement home. Before he does that, the camera work on this one scene where Grandpa makes the decision of what he does with the money, it's just so well done.
So, have you figured out who gets your money?
Yes, Homer, I have.
That great shot of Grandpa just looking at the bust and looking at his hands, and then, like, you know, rubbing his hands and just thinking about, you know, what's the best way to use this money in general. And it basically comes to that really great ending where the retirement home does get upgraded nicely, and you know, just a really, really great ending to this episode. Now, for some reason, I think that a lot of people also think that Bee's ghost actually does show up at the very end, like the last shot of the episode, because if you look real closely, that's the back of Bee in one shot, and Jet is towards the end here, and it's just like, I'd like to think that maybe her ghost is still hanging around there, or just like maybe that was one of those animation errors. But it does leave you up to imagination to what you think actually would happen in that situation. But yeah, Old Money is a great episode that doesn't need to rely on belly-aching laughs, but relies on a really good story, giving Grandpa Simpson a motive and to present a good message at the end of it. And a lot of people would see this as one of their favorite episodes or one of the best episodes, but for me, this is definitely one of my personal favorites. And honestly, it's kind of a perfect way to end September here. I've had a really good time making these videos, and hopefully this will become a recurring trend, and we can keep doing these every September going forward now. I know there's a lot of episodes of The Simpsons, and there will be there will be plenty more episodes of The Simpsons to come. But, hey, if I'm doing this for the rest of my life, then so be it. It's worth it to talk about my favorite show of all time. And, thank you guys for watching these videos, and, I'll see you guys next September.
Come on in. Dignity's on me, friends.